My balls are like the alien biomech nightmare of veins and gross shit comes out of it, just like the aliens. You're listening to Diminishing Returns, the podcast about sequels, prequels, spin-offs, and reboots. I'm Chris Scott, and across from me, he's a double Y chromosome that makes me wonder why the fuck am I in this basement. It's Mr. Alan Johnson.
How do pod people?
A visitor has come, but not by herself.
In episode 50 of this podcast, we covered the gestation and chest-busting impact of the sci-fi masterpieces Alien and Aliens. And, as 2019 is the 40th anniversary of Ridley Scott's Alien, we felt the time was right to explore more of the franchise. Scott's original was a dark horror movie set in deep space, whereas James Cameron's bombastic follow-up was a beefy action extravaganza and possibly the greatest sequel of all time. During the protracted development of Alien 3, fans would get snippets and details about the project, some of which would forever be linked to the movie, leading to disappointment upon its release. Gone was Weyland's weaponization of the xenomorph, the Marxist space empire, and battling aliens on Earth. Fans had also been keen to see Vincent Ward's proposed wooden planet, but as the producers and director Ward struggled to complete the script, the New Zealand filmmaker would leave the project. Studio executives would then approach acclaimed commercial and music video director David Fincher, who would sign on with a cast, sets and production team largely in place. His Alien 3 would reconfigure the wooden planet and its monastery as a prison on a mining outpost. When Ripley's escape pod crashes both literally and figuratively into the prisoners' lives, she brings with her social upheaval as the only woman in an all-male world, and chaos in the shape of a stowaway xenomorph. The tone was closer to Ridley Scott's original, with Fincher displaying visual flair in spite of the production's ongoing problems. The standard slasher movie-style plot was elevated with heady concepts of sacrifice and redemption. However, the studio did not have much faith in the young director's grim vision. Execs hated the downbeat ending, and with an imminent 1992 release date set, the studio re-edited the movie and Fincher effectively ended his relationship with the franchise. 2003 would see the release of the Alien quadrilogy box set and the assembly cut of Alien 3, which reinstated almost 40 minutes of cut footage and drew some reappraisal for the movie. Thankfully, Fincher's unfortunate experience did not hamper his career, and he continues to create singular films over which he exerts complete creative control. Looking back now, and with the benefit of Fincher's subsequent filmography, how does Alien 3 stand up? A creative misstep? A flop? A flawed masterpiece hamstrung by studio interference? Or, as Roger Ebert once wrote, is it one of the best looking bad movies ever seen?
Alien 3. The bitch is back.
Alright, yeah, so we're talking about Alien Cubed. That's how it reads with the wee 3. This film for me is 100% caught up with my excitement for this film. As you've heard in episode 50, Aliens is my favourite film of all time. Of all time. I was obsessed with it, right? So if this was sort of 93 it came out over here, was it?
Yeah.
From age like 9 to 13, I was buying Aliens comics, drawing my own Aliens comics. I was just obsessed with it because it was the coolest fucking thing in the world. I think I was just so happy to see another Alien film.
Yeah, 1993,
You were 48?
I was leaving high school. It was a big deal seeing this movie in the cinema. But Alien 3 didn't live long in the memory.
Yeah, but again, all that had been building up in the Alien fandom, everything was pointing from the previous films and all the rumours. Come on, guys. The aliens are going to go to Earth. That's what this whole fucking franchise is building up for. The third one, Ripley fighting aliens on Earth. Fuck-a-lucka ding-dong, let's do this.
We got a big teaser trailer that came out like a year ahead of the movie. It's clearly like an Earth horizon that's at the bottom of the frame. That teaser was saying,
we're going to Earth.
It's coming to Earth.
Listener, we did not go to Earth.
No.
We went to a nondescript prison planet, so that it was mostly interior shots.
Yeah.
Well done, Fox. So I was dead excited for it. I remember quite liking it, but not thinking it was the best. And however many years later this is, I dread to think.
Don't think.
Yeah,
Don't think about it.
This episode's just going to be like a fucking me having an existential crisis. Like, I've wasted my life. I'm still wasting it. I'm doing a podcast for you. There's no sadder indictment of my lack of achievements in this world that you're listening to me. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm probably a bit more forgiving of it now, but while also being like, oh boy, that's a bit that didn't work, or there's obviously been stuff fucking cut from this bit, etc., etc. So, you know, despite all my years of experience, and by that I mean sexual experience, guys, like a boatload. What was I going to say there? Oh yeah, basically, yeah, it's quite good in places, but it's not as good as the first two.
I have a much greater appreciation of this movie now than I remember having at the time. Just quickly, there's famously two cuts of this film. There's the studio cut that was or the theatrical cut that was released, and then for the DVD re-releases in 2003, there was what's called the assembly cut that was put together. And in the main, the differences are, instead of the dog buster, which is where the alien arrives from the dog in the theatrical cut, the xenomorph busts out of an ox. The assembly cut expands on the religious sort of cult that the inmates on the prison have devoted their life to. They're looking for redemption through religion. Paul McGann's character has a large story arc that's essentially cut out of the theatrical cut.
And you know how you can tell that from the theatrical cut? Because Paul McGann's name is quite high in the credits, but does not have a huge amount of screen time.
Yes.
That's you can always tell, hold on.
Something's happened in the mix here.
Something's been cut, yeah.
And finally, I guess the most significant difference is that in the very final moments of the film, the theatrical cut sees Ripley falling into the molten lead, and the chest buster breaks out of her chest, and she grabs it and pulls it into the molten fiery hell, killing them both. Whereas in the assembly cut, she falls intact in a beautiful kind of Christ-like pose, which really heightens this whole thing about sacrifice and greater goods and personal identity. So the assembly cut is definitely worth watching because it's certainly much more coherent overall story, and the finale, crucially, is much more situated. You know where everybody is, because when you're dealing with a cast that's mostly bald white men, it's very difficult to tell people like that apart when everything's quite dark.
That was really the vibe at the time, you know, bald white men. It was this romper stomper. It was all the rage, guys. I haven't watched the assembly cut. I will probably watch it at some point. I've only seen the theatrical cut. That's what we'll mostly be discussing today. I like the idea of the assembly cut is that it does delve into more into the religion and stuff like that, because that's the cool, interesting bit.
Yes,
you know, that's the new bit. All these murderers and rapists have devoted themselves to this like apocalyptic Christian cult. That's a cool, groovy idea. That gives it a lot of flavour in the film. If you had more of that, I think it would be more interesting, more idiosyncratic. But basically, Ripley crash lands on a planet full of bald, angry, never seen a woman for like 25 years, and they've also taken a vow of celibacy. She's like, how can I catch a dick in fucking this universe? What the fuck? Don't worry, because while the prisoners are suspicious about her, because they're religious, and if religion has taught us anything, women are evil, right?
I mean,
Adam and Eve. Adam was having a fucking great old time till you broads got involved. That's what religion teaches us, is basically that women are evil, and that's why I am an atheist, guys. Yeah, they all hate, you know, they're all freaked out because this chick's like the first woman they've seen in God knows how many years, decades, for all of them. But it's all right, Ripley, don't worry, because Charles Dance is here. Charles Dance is here. You're like, I've fucking fought off an alien. I've fought off aliens. I crash land onto a world of dudes, and none of them are going to fucking fling me a bobby. Charles Dance is there. Don't worry. He's like, listen, I'm charming. I've got the cool accent, and I'll slip you a dick. Finally, Ripley gets her hole, right? Because, like, she was going to get her hole off Hicks.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And frankly, to be clear, we all saw the crew that she was on, you know, the ship with an Alien. She's obviously like, get these guys to fuck. Slovenly bastards. Michael Biehn. But, you know, he's deed. One of the things that I quite like about the movie, but also think it's a terrible choice, is the immediate death of Hicks and Newt. I like it because it's brutal. So, like, you know, our escape pod crash lands, and it's immediate that Hicks and Newt, the two other survivors from Aliens, are dead. Newt is like a 10-year-old lassie, and this movie is just like, yeah, remember that cute 10-year-old lassie who was so adorable and it was so great that she survived? We killed her off like that. We murdered that little bitch. Yeah, that's right. We're cold. But also gets it away from the having to cast another actress, because it was like, I see why they did it.
I totally get why fans as a whole resent, you know, the immediate killing off of Hicks and Newt, because Aliens ends on such a high note. Like, we've destroyed the aliens. Fuck yeah. They've got a little nuclear family. very happy ending, but reframing that, it's much more in keeping with the franchise that we have that downer beginning.
Yeah.
It just adds to Ripley's character.
It's really hard to be a working mum.
It's a really brave choice. I understand that, like, as a fan, it's difficult. Michael Biehn is so amazing. Hicks is a great character. You want more of the Marines, but dropping Ripley into that environment makes it much more interesting when she has suffered loss and she's on her own. Going back to what you were saying about her catching a dick, I find that quite a refreshing thing. Like, she's so matter of fact about her sexuality and her desires.
Yeah, she's not had her hole for hundreds of years because she's been in stasis. She's probably not even had time to, like, frig herself off in the bath. Do you know what I mean? Like, Ripley's not even getting a chance to fucking go and sort herself out because she's always running from aliens. By the way, 1992 Charles Dance, handsome boy.
But it's funny because obviously everyone's most recent familiarity with Charles Dance is playing that utter bastard Tywin Lannister on Game of Thrones. But here he is, charming as all hell. The depth he brings to, like, his screen time because of his dark, sort of shameful past, his backstory, like, he sells it so beautifully when they're having a little, like, kind of courtship. What a fucking charming motherfucker.
Yeah, but it was just nice to see the character of Ripley get boned. She's deserved it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's one of the things that I think this film gets right. Like in Aliens, there probably wasn't time for her and Hicks to rip off to the loo and rattle one out off each other.
I guess you are much more of the fan base that were, like, deeply invested in the potential for that Ripley-Hicks relationship.
So for me, I really love the Dark Horse comic books, which I know if you're listening to this, ladies, that phrase has probably just made you just want to marry me. You're like, oh my God, how hot is this guy? he was really into Aliens comic books. Yeah, that's right, I'm a real catch. I'm like the Charles Dance of podcasting. In that, the storyline was quite cool that, you know, it was like 10 years later or something, shit happens on Earth and Hicks and Newt get drawn back into this, like, fuck, we know how to deal with aliens and we know the dangers here. You know, these people were all fucked up from their time from the aliens, and then when they died, quite liked it because it was a shock. It was a surprise.
Yeah.
Like, I know some people hated it and I get why. I was of the opinion that it was just like, I didn't expect that. That's brutal. And it is, and there's like brutal scene of like their corpses. And like there's an autopsy scene where like fucking Ripley has to go and watch her de facto daughter get cut up on a slab. Bits like that is where you go, you know, Aliens is not a fun franchise for this character.
It's a very, like, adult-orientated franchise.
It's not Marvel.
What I like about the autopsy scene is that they make it as, like,
gross,
Gru-filled as possible. Charles Dance is just suddenly covered in blood. All of the instruments he's using, there's just blood everywhere. It's amazing.
Yeah. So I like it. I like those dark choices. You know, R.I.P. Hicks and Newt, pouring one out for my dead homies. But, you know, one human character coming to this world and she's having to deal with this whole fucking fucked up situation of the prison before we even get to the fucked up situation of the alien. And it's about all these people, you know, trying to find redemption and trying to, like, move on from their past. But can you ever move on from your past when your past is basically a beastie that follows you around space? Exactly.
Like or the corporation which owns your ass.
I like that the cast of this film is basically every actor that we watched in dramas from the like mid-80s to mid-90s. Like every single show that was on BBC or ITV. If you're not from Britain and you're like, oh, that was a kind of interesting cast of strange-looking British men. Yeah. They were on every single TV show we watched for 10 years.
And movies from Withnail and I to Kes, like British thespians all playing these inmates. What a brilliant cast.
Yeah. And so, like, the idea of this prison planet, the fact that they've all formed religion, is great. And I wish there was more of that in the film. And from what I hear, obviously, the assembly cut has more of that.
Obviously, Ripley arrives and so does the alien. That's a big change now in the movie. We've got one xenomorph again, much like the first film, but this xenomorph is much different. It's much more animalistic, and that was one of Fincher's changes, where it does something that we normally don't like in franchises, which is that franchise movies tend to over-explain. This just gives a nice little bit of information about how whatever the host body that gestates the alien changes its physical makeup.
Yeah, that's what's cool, that it comes out of a dog or an ox in the other car. But, you know, it comes out of a dog, and so it's less human-like. It's more like an animal. I thought that was really cool. I think the design is really cool. I know Geiger did a kind of redesigning.
He came back to reconfigure the creature.
And again, I think that what we hate is that kind of over-explaining of stuff. What's good about this is that it doesn't really explain it. It shows it, which again is classic movie stuff. Show, don't tell. You see it come out of an animal oh, it looks a bit different. And then you put it together in your head.
Yeah.
At no point does Ripley go, this one is obviously from a Doug. This will be a rover style alien. She just says like, oh, it moves differently from the other ones I've seen. And I like that. One problem that it does have is that they do a lot of like puppetry and a wee bit of CGI.
Yeah.
Which, let me be very clear, the compositing of and the blue screening and green screening and whatever of has not aged well. There is a bit where the alien is obviously meant to be attacking this prisoner and killing him, and it looks like it's humping him. I almost burst out laughing because I was like, it looks like it's trying to hump this guy rather than eat him.
Just like
If the camera had kept on it, after 2 minutes it was going to roll over, have a cigarette and call it an Uber. It just...
it is a little unfortunate. It was a new technique and they hadn't just quite perfected the technique, and that's unfortunate.
Whereas if it's a guy in a suit, that looks a bit better. I mean, they might as well have done it with like a glove puppet and some bits that look so bad. Like fucking sooty. But yeah, whoa, imagine if an alien came out of sooty. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so some of the effects are a bit but it looks great, you know.
Visually, some of the most staggering images from the whole franchise, and in particular that one enduring image of Ripley with the shaven head and the alien when it goes face to face with her.
Yeah.
At the first moments when we begin to say, well, why is the alien not killing Ripley?
Yeah. Oh, that's right, listener. It's because she's got an alien inside of her. Holy shit.
Not just an alien, she's carrying a queen. She's carrying a new queen.
Again, the thematic sort of stuff about that, you know, running through the series is that they've taken so much from Ripley. It's taken her fucking crew, it's taken Hicks and Newt from her, it's taken her family back home, and now like the sort of this final indignity of it's attacked her in her sleep, and the facehugger's given her a queen, which means that she'll be responsible for the deaths of so many people. And she's just like, I need to die. Like, this is a super brutal, dark thing. It's really cool. You know, the problem is that it just seems too many cooks, people getting their oar in. I think if it had just that grim sensibility all the way through and they just let Fincher make it this dark, redemptive story of sacrifice where she has to kill herself to save the universe, that's great. That is such a cool fucking thing.
Weaver only wanted to come back if Ripley died. So, you know, the studio knew that going in, regardless what happened. You know, don't mess with the tone, because that's when, you know, we're back to half fucking donkeys.
Yeah, you can't half fuck a donkey. You can't half have a chest burster come out of a dug and kill loads of people and then have Ripley kill herself. You can't half do that. You can't have half measures. Particularly, which is interesting because I did a bit of reading on this David Fincher character, and he's made some other films since, right?
Would you care to name any? Is there anything I would have seen?
I think his biggest film was called Panic Room. The Game. And I can't remember any other ones. But what's obviously quite funny and interesting is that his next film, of course, is Seven, a completely grim fucking film that, you know, he got to do what he wanted on. And it's a fucking super smash hit. Massive downer ending, completely dark tone, and people went fucking batshit insane for how good it was, right?
Yes.
Like, everyone loved Seven. You can just imagine just like walking up to the Fox lot. You see, guys, you could have just let me do that a few years ago. Everything would have been great.
Yeah.
So it is, I feel it's a missed opportunity. You know, it's his first film. There's loads of interesting stuff happening.
And it's really sweary.
Yeah.
Like, I love that it's just unapologetically sweary.
Yeah.
Which fits the world. You know, you're in this like enclosed
male prison environment. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be locker room chat and getting the biscuit out. That's the two things that are happening. You know what game I'm talking about, and I play to lose. Gross. I think we should talk about one thing in this film, right?
Just one.
This film, top level Charlesing. This is some of the best Charleses in any film ever. Because you've already got Charles Dance. You're like, that's a top level Charles.
Yeah.
I guess we're done here. Oh, hell no. Chrles S Dutton's in this fucking film being cool as tits.
Yeah. You know his own true life story.
He used to be a prisoner.
He was
on an alien world. Wait, I'm not sure about this.
No. But yeah, at 17 he got in a fight.
And his mum got scared?
He claims he was attacked. The guy who attacked him ended up dead. Dutton is convicted of manslaughter, sentenced to 7 years. Early on in his prison term, he gets sent to solitary confinement, picks up the wrong book just by accident. It's an anthology of black playwrights.
Wow.
Reads that book, it changes his life. He immediately, upon release from solitary, goes to the warden, starts saying, we need to set up a drama club here. And the warden says, because he dropped out of middle school, didn't even make it to high school.
Wow.
The warden says, if you can get your GED, your high school equivalency, we'll start this program. So he embarks on his GED. They embark on the drama workshop within the prison. Upon his release, he goes to college, then he goes on to Yale, and then like by the early 80s he's on Broadway making his debut, and then into film and television. Incredible career, and his life could have entirely been on a different path. Incarcerated at 17.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing, his life story should be a film.
Exactly.
Like, I want to see this film. In fact, if you showed me that film, I would be like, well, that's a bit unrealistic.
But here he is in a film where he plays an inmate in a correctional facility who is seeking redemption for his past crimes. That must have had a deep resonance with him. An incredible story of finding your true self. Like,
yeah, he fucking rocks a house in this film. This is top level Charlesing. This is maybe like the best Charlesing you'll see. And then if I honestly, can you name a film with more top level Charleses in it? You'll maybe see like, Charles Chaplin.
I was going to say The Great Dictator when Chaplin plays two roles,
but it's still just one Charles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. If you're listening and you can think of a film that's got even an equal amount of top level Charleses, email us at diminishingpod@gmail.com within the subject line Charles in Charge.
Charles in charge of our days and our nights.
Lovely. That's beautiful. Okay, you join us in episode 84 of Diminishing Returns podcast. We'll talk about Alien 3, we'll talk about David Fincher, we'll talk about Ripley getting dick. If you'd like to talk about any of those subjects, you can email us at diminishingpod@gmail.com. On Twitter, we are at diminishingpod. On Facebook, we're Diminishing Returns podcast. At Diminishing Returns pod is the way to tag us and things on Facebook. On Instagram, we're Diminishing Pod. We have a blog at diminishingpod.wordpress.com. And on YouTube, search for Diminishing Returns. But the most important thing is we're an independent podcast. We need to infect as many listeners as possible, but rather than it being through some creepy spider vagina penis monster, we would like it from being recommendations. So we want you to recommend the show to a friend that would like it. You do not have to impregnate them with weird alien eggs unless you want to. We want to keep growing the show, so please tell your friends and tell your mama. And leave a rate and review on iTunes. Chrles S Dutton, and he's kind of like, he's the badass guy who's like, right, nobody touches her, and also later on in the film, fuck it, if we're gonna die, I'm gonna fucking die trying, and I love that shit in movies.
Yeah, better to die on my feet than live on my knees.
Yeah, let me be clear, I love that shit in movies because that would not be me. I will die cowering
yes,
in a corner begging for my life. But it's great in films to see, so if I could dig that.
Dutton plays as sort of like the head of the church within the prison, who are just remnants of this mining colony. The mining colony at one point had 5,000 inmates and a massive staff, but now there's only 25 inmates and a skeleton crew to manage those guys. And everything he does is about trying to keep that delicate ecosystem just in balance, that, no one steps out of line. If anyone breaks a rule, he administers the punishments.
Yeah, with a lead fucking pipe at one point. And beats the shit out of a guy.
Exactly. So Ripley is under threat. She's in this environment, and at one point when she's just going about her business, she's about to be sexually assaulted, and Chrles Dutton shows up and rescues her
Kicks
from
the
that.
shit out of somebody.
That sequence really shows Ripley's had these different roles within the three films to date. She was the underdog in Alien. She was a lower ranking official who just, because of people being killed ahead of her, rises to the ranks. Then the second film, she's battling against this military system. She's got to convince them that she knows better. She might not be the best armed, she might not be the best equipped, but they need to listen to her because she's dealt with it before. And here she is, she's trying to convince this prison population that something is rotten in Denmark. They're in big trouble and they need to listen to her. But she's in this precarious position. She's a one woman in this prison environment. Psychos, murderers, rapists, child molesters. It's a dangerous environment for her to be in.
And eventually when, come on, we need to fight back, they come up with an ingenious plan to try and stop the alien, right? And I really like this because I think, if I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, this is like the perfect killing machine.
Yep.
It's been picking off people, murdering them. This is a deadly foe. What I'm going to do is formulate a plan that involves Pete Postlethwaite outrunning it. Guy's in his fucking 50s or something, right? He doesn't look like he's been working out.
No, if you ask him to run anywhere, he's going to be pretty brassed off.
Nice. He's gonna run and have a heart attack and die, and that's it. You're all fucked. So who should
The
we get?
linchpin of this plan
Is the old guy there.
Athletic ability.
Yeah, you know. Guys, you might want to re-fucking think that one.
But it's really fascinating because we've gone from the overly weaponized Marines battling the aliens to now an environment where there are no weapons.
Which is cool.
They have to rely on some kind of Wile E. Coyote style bait to get the beast into an area where they can try and possibly kill it. But the camera work to suggest the alien pursuing those prisoners.
The point of view
great.
shots that they have in
view
this is fucking great. Like, it really does look good. And also, it's because it's a point of view shot, you don't get to see the shitty rod puppetry and CGI.
So an elegant solution to an awkward problem.
It's really good. I also like as well in the little text that tells you about the planet you're about the ship's landing on, which of course I love, as it does say double Y chromosome facility. Basically, a very sciencey, smart way of going, it's a sausage fest.
I love it, and I love how they refer to themselves as the double Y chromos.
Yeah,
like
if we ever
a good bit of slang.
Yeah, if we ever form a softball team, that's what we should call it.
But I quite like that within the movie the tech is all still quite clunky, because it's within this sort of alternate alien world where video screen transmissions are all text based. It's not like Skyping or FaceTiming these days. But I quite like that at one point when the corporation finally show up at the end, a guy's got a giant camcorder filming what's going on.
Yeah. It's the hot future of 1993. Absolutely. Also, like, there's Brian Glover's the warden.
Yeah.
The alien basically has fucking murdered Charles Dance after he's had a big dramatic moment. Tells Ripley the truth. And finally, this is the one person that Ripley can trust in this thing. And then fucking the alien's like, yep, now you're dead. Right? And then Ripley runs away and goes into the canteen. It's like, fucking, it's here. It's killing people. Blah, blah, blah. And Brian Glover is like, everybody calm down. This is bullshit. There's no such thing as alien comes in and kills him. Right? This alien just loves dramatic irony. Like, this alien is just like, I like it just waiting there going, I'm going to wait till Charles Dance has just had his big moment there and she's thinking that everyone's going to be fine. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill him. Yes, killed him. Ran along to the canteen and is like, is this guy about to say that I don't exist? Oh, well, I'll give him a wee minute. Oh, I don't exist. I'm going to kill you. I like this alien's got a bit of personality about it.
But it is a real like slasher movie, killing everybody off one by one, popping up when you least expect it.
Outstanding stuff.
But I also like Brian Glover as the rumour control.
Control?
Yeah, here's the facts. You can no reason to get panicked. Don't let the gossip overwhelm you. I'll tell you what's true.
I know that I can see the shadow of something about to jump on me. Don't believe it.
Rumour control, there's no alien.
Absolutely brilliant. Like, alien just being like, oh, what am I like? Fucking. Is in the assembly cut, is there any like bits where the alien like looks at camera and gives it a wee wink?
Breaks a fourth wall.
Yeah, just like, oh, I'm a stinker, innit? It's an alien with a bit of charm, a bit of joie de vivre about it. So I do like that. As ever, the corporation, Wayland, Newt and I, they obviously, any information that goes through the computers does get to them probably about a week with this tech. But so she's had a scan to find out that the alien queen's inside her. That'll be getting sent to the company.
The transmission they send back to the home planet. As soon as Ripley's name pops up, they're like, do not let her go anywhere. We're on our way. And I like how that reverberates throughout the facility, because it's like, we have never had a communication back from corporate. And it's not even about Ripley. It's about the monetary gain they can get by harnessing this xenomorph. So it's just like Ripley's an indicator that where the xenomorph might be. Yeah. She's just a commodity to them.
Yeah. And it's great because when the company do arrive, it's Lance Henriksen as the guy who built Bishop.
Well, he's credited as Bishop too. It's a funny thing.
Well, like, also in one of the Alien v Predators, is he not?
In Alien v Predator, he shows up as Wayland
as
again.
Wayland,
and the timelines don't quite line up.
I mean, I assume he's lying, I guess, maybe, and that it is a robot.
Well, Lance Henriksen says, well, if you watch the movie, when I get hit with the wrench, the spanner, I bleed. For me, it certainly seems like he is a human.
So he's basically the he's from Whale and Duty and I. He's like, come on, Ripley. And he's obviously lying to her. And I read an interview with Fincher that in his original cut, it takes her like 30 seconds to decide to throw herself and kill herself off thing. Because he's like, we can take this thing out of you.
We can give you the life that you've been denied to this point.
Yeah.
You can have children. It's a real like kind of reproductive rights moment framed in that like he is a man telling her what to do with her
but also
body.
It's a bit, it's Satan. It's it's like, come on, you can
have
have everything that you've wanted. You can trust me. I'm not a bad guy. And she's like, nah, you guys are all dicks. But I love it because he's like, you've got to let me have it and all that. He's so obsessed with having this perfect killing machine. And it was really cool to have him back because we only see Bishop, the android from Aliens, as a kind of like fucked up animatronic thing.
It looks like a sort of like badly damaged sex doll.
Yeah,
he's all sort of rubbery.
But I mean, it looks pretty cool when she reanimates the corpse of Bishop, right? So she basically drags the android out from the wreckage and like sticks a couple of spark plugs in him and fucking wires him up to the mains.
What that clunky future tech?
Yeah, and then when she gets the information she needs from him, he's the robot's like, I want to die, kill me, and it's like, holy shit, man! Like I'll never be top of the range again. If I can't be that, I'd rather be nothing. And it's like, holy shit, this robot's a nihilist. You know, this fucking robot just like brutal. Even the robot is just like, fuck this shit. This is a brutal existence. I want to die. Which again is funsies.
So we have that, and then Henriksen shows up as a sleazy corporate douchebag.
Yeah, and I really like it that he, gives her that offer and she's like, listen, I've had everything taken from me. I even got my hole once and then that guy died. Fuck you guys. I'm going to throw myself to a fiery death, right? And it's the perfect ending to Ripley's story, that she sacrifices herself to save the world, to save the galaxy, to stop the evil corporation from taking this killing machine and replicating it, because they could not control it. And even if they could, it would only be used for evil. A beautiful encapsulation of Ripley's character, her steel, the things that's got her through this is not only her morals, but her strength of character. And that's why it was brilliant that she never came back to the franchise. Wait, what? Did they walk that back immediately with Alien fucking Resurrection? Yes, they did. Oh, this is a beautiful ending. Hey, Sigourney Weaver, well, you just said, you only did Alien 3 as long as Ripley died. Yeah, because I need to put it behind me. Nothing's going to happen. Whoa, have you seen this truck of money? And she's like, fuck it, yeah, clone me. I'll be back for the next one, which I assume we'll do next year.
Why not? We've come this far in deep space. Yeah. It is amazing. Like, on one hand, she won't sell out to the corporation. At the same time, she is like her not selling her soul, keeping up that thematic religious stuff. But also, it's just a way for her to seize some semblance of self back, that she decides what happens. It's not a pleasant outlook. It's not a happy ending, but at least she decides. It's not her corporate overlords that dictate to her what she does in that situation, and it's amazing.
Yeah, she's like fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. As Rage Against the Machine comes in the soundtrack, because that was out around then, and she jumps off. That's definitely a bit that happens in the film if you've not seen it. Fuck the corporations, man.
Have you read No Logo by Naomi Klein?
I'm Gen X. I don't give a fuck. It's the 90s.
But it is a very definitive product of its time. The palette, the tone, that sort of like mood.
Yeah.
It's all infused in this film. It really amps up what's going on within the movie. Makes me enjoy it much more now than I did as a teenager. So this came off the heels of two of the greatest films ever made. And Alien 3 is very good, right? Yeah.
Now, from the best films ever made to very good is a fucking bit of a drop. However, as we've seen, an Alien franchise film that's just very good now would be a fucking dream come true. I would give my left nut for a film as good as Alien 3 and the Alien franchise at this point. Jesus Christ, Fox, it was bad enough that they fucked up Fincher's edit and, second guessing him and fighting him and a bunch of stuff. They then went, you know what? Let's just keep fucking things up. That worked well for us, eh? Let's just keep fucking sharp on one of the best properties in fucking cinema history. So of course we got Ridley Scott back for Prometheus. We've done an episode on it. It's fucking terrible. There's Alien Covenant, which we did a mini episode on.
Very, very brief review, capsule review, some may say.
Yeah, again, fucking terrible.
AVP,
never mind. Yep,
Requiem. Although those are fun movies.
Aye, but they're not the auteur-led.
No.
Fucking like Alien, Aliens, and Alien 3.
It's interesting that Audible this year have launched an audio drama, which is
The William Gibson script.
the William Gibson script from 1987.
Which has space communists.
Yeah, it's described derisively as space commies hijack alien eggs, which causes a big problem in Mall World.
While that sounds terrible if you say it like that, how's about space commies fucking get alien eggs and cause trouble in a mall world? Like, suddenly I'm like, maybe that's amazing. All these great ideas sound fucking great, and I wish that they'd happened. You know, I think it would have been a cool spectacle, but was it ever realistic at that point in cinema history? Like, maybe now you could do it.
Yeah. The producers at that time wanted to go in a different direction, and it would have been interesting from that point of view of Gibson writes a very particular kind of science fiction, you know, the godfather of cyberpunk. Like, it's interesting where the idea may have gone. And but thinking about ideas that didn't appear in Alien 3, what do you feel about Vincent Ward's Wooden Planet?
Yeah, so basically it was going to be in some weird kind of biodome where everything was made of wood inside of it, and it was run by space monks.
It was basically a monastery on a satellite.
That sounds amazing. Again, wild and fucked up. And I love the idea that they seem to get quite far along with that idea without any of them realising how mental it was. And then suddenly they went, hey, do you think this wooden planet of space monks might be a bit mental? And then they went, oh yeah, we're not going to do that. I love whatever alchemy was fucking pulled to kind of get it that far ahead.
It sounds like an amazing elevator pitch.
Aye.
Right, what have you got for us? And he's like, I don't know, alien on a wooden planet with monks. And they're like, we're down.
Great.
It's a fascinating
But
concept.
how do you make it?
But when you really dig in, you're like, how would this exist? How has this been constructed? What might have been? Vincent Ward went on, directed Last Samurai.
Oh, okay. I mean, cool. Yeah.
And there was complaints of the ending of Alien 3 being quite similar to the previous year's Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Yeah,
because Arnie going into the molten metal.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see that, but I'll be honest, I think they were two different enough films. I didn't particularly make me think they were ripping Terminator 2 off or anything like that.
I mean, if Ripley had Christ-like gone into the molten lead and then given a thumbs up, possibly that would have hinted at more.
Like if one of the prisoners had started teaching her slang that she'd missed.
Hasta la vista.
Aye. Also, right, here's the thing, right? So that we've realised she's got a chest buster, the Queen chest buster, ready to bust out her chest. Yeah. That's what they do. Lance Henriksen comes and he's like giving her the pitch to like come to the company and we'll save you and all that sort of stuff, right? The company doesn't seem to be like working on any crazy timescale. Like, you think they'd be like going, if she's got a fucking thing inside her, it's ready to pop. Like, you think he'd be like, Ripley, you're gonna die if you don't come with us. Come on, let's do it now. Come on, pal. But he's just like walking in being like, hey, what? I've got this other guy's face that, you know, if I was running Wayland Duty tonight and wanting to get the alien, you're like, come in and just fucking tranquilize her. That's it. Job done. But they're like, let's have a chat. Let's see what happens before we start firing at things. This is what happens when companies get too big. There becomes some inertia, more about bureaucracy. The whole Aliens film is effectively a critique of large systems. Welcome to my TED Talk. Let's talk about how companies become so big that they end up failing from the inside. If you look at the post-Fordist economy, I would be brilliant if I just fucking did this for 5 minutes. So final thoughts on Alien 3. Would you say it's your third favourite then?
Yes, it's my third favourite Alien film, and I think it will remain that way for the foreseeable.
Yeah, I'm not holding out any hope for fucking another Alien Covenant Prometheus fucking bullshit.
No.
Film. You know they were going to make an Aliens cartoon. Have you seen the stills of that?
I have not. No, this is fascinating to me.
Supposedly
wow.
there was going to be like a kind of Aliens cartoon coming out around Alien 3.
Of course, Kenner released the Alien as a toy for kids.
Yeah. Oh, what's that you're playing with? This is the weird vagina penis monster that attack people and forcibly lays eggs inside of it. Wait, what? And then it bursts out of its chest and kills people. Yay! You know, that's not really...
Yeah.
I mean, it's what I wanted as a kid.
But a cartoon sounds fascinating.
So basically, again, I think somebody's like, yeah, because like people will love this and it's a kind of, you know, cool thing and like, you know, we can have an Aliens cartoon. And then again, they were like, oh yeah, hold on, that's a completely gross, hard 18 fucking horror film.
In the 80s, we had a Mr. T cartoon, a Rambo cartoon, Robocop. Even Beetlejuice seems like an odd one to translate transfer
right.
over,
Yeah,
Bill
yeah,
and
yeah.
Ted. You know, there was a lot of weird movie licensed out into cartoons.
David
Some
Cronenberg's The Fly.
I mean, if only.
Yeah.
Starship Troopers had that Saturday morning cartoon called Roughnecks.
Oh, did they? I didn't
which
know
was
that one. That's cool.
CGI, Red v Blue style animated show.
Right, okay. So there was going to be like an Aliens cartoon allegedly. I would have loved it. So for me, I just think this was a missed opportunity. It has its faults, but it's a very good film. I haven't seen Resurrection for a while. Quite looking forward to watching that again when we do it next year.
Okay.
I fear I will probably end up hating it.
Yeah, we'll find out in time.
So this came out in 1993, and I lapped it up. But I've changed, man. I've changed, and the years have changed me. I'll tell you how long ago this was and what a different person I was. All I really would have loved after Alien 3 would have been for Ridley Scott to return to the Alien franchise. If you told me that was going to happen, I would be like, holy shit, he's fucking coming back to the Alien. This is going to rock so fucking hard, man. It's going to be worth staying alive until my mid-30s to see that, because that'll be fucking great. And now I speak to you, a man damaged and broken by Ridley Scott returning to the Alien franchise.
Not only once,
Twice.
but twice.
It's like he fucking came in, kicked my balls, and when I wasn't looking, booted me right up the arse as well. Ridley Scott, he's broken my heart.
Because I couldn't dance.
Because
He didn't even want me around. But now I'm back to let you know I can really shake him down.
Do you love me now that I can chest burst? That's the kind of world we lived in, where we still had dreams. We still had hope, Alan. And much like the dark mood of this film, I now realise that there is no escape. The only escape will be the haunting embrace of death. They fucked up the Alien franchise, right? They fucked it. The thing that I loved, I think it was so beautiful. This basically, Aliens is like every one of my fucking relationships, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, it starts great. I love it. And now I look back at it and it's just tinged with horror and disappointment. All right? And women are flinging themselves off high things to get away from me. It's fucking like they'll do anything. But I know how we can write this. I know how we can course correct.
Pray tell.
In this Alien 3, the alien comes out of a dog.
Yep.
Alien versus John Wick. There's the greatest film you'll ever see. It kills John Wick's dog by busting out his chest, and then suddenly John Wick has to kill all the aliens. Yes. Email us at diminishingpod@gmail.com. Hollywood. I've just saved the Alien franchise. You're
Chris
fucking welcome.
Chris has just saved 1993's Alien 3.
Yep. That's right. You are welcome.
Novelisation was a big deal because then it had details in that book that aren't in the movie.
The old, I'm assuming this is an old Alan Dean Foster special.
Oh yes,
the man that novelises every fucking film.
Yep, Alan Dean Foster, Alien Cubed.
Baise-moi, the novelisation by Alan Dean Foster.